First leg, Michael to throw first. Game on.
Well, real privilege to have been watching this tournament. It's produced so many stories, so many talking points already this weekend, and I suspect we will have the finale that perhaps this tournament really deserves, because we have seen some truly special instances of great power play right throughout the tournament, including or especially over the course of this final day. The resurgence, as you say, of Adrian Lewis. Will it be enough to end Michael van Gerwen's bid for a 5th European Tour title of 2018? That is the question. Adrian Lewis hasn't had as much time to draw breath following his semi-final as Michael van Gerwen had following his. But we are down to the serious matter in hand here. 8 minutes past 11 local time. It's a late night finale here in Gibraltar.
100. Michael van Gerwen is heading off on a family holiday tomorrow up the Spanish coast, and he said that he needs the £25,000 to pay for it. He's earmarked that money already. Doesn't want to see Adrian Lewis snatch it away. Now, Michael van Gerwen should have really gone for treble 18 with his first start there. He doesn't think Adrian Lewis is going to take this out. Not the kind of game you should be playing with a man like Adrian Lewis on the hockey. Did get a dart at the bullseye, but couldn't find it.
Michael van Gerwen averaging for the tournament well over 100 this weekend so far. Just the one match where he failed to average 100. That was against Johnny Clayton in the quarterfinals, but elsewhere across the board it has been very, very impressive indeed. And he opens up an early advantage with the first leg on the board. He did have to work hard to an extent against Steve West in the semi-finals. He did trail 3-1, but then he just had that string of 4 legs that really did all the damage, including a couple of 11-dart legs as well that really just knocked the stuffing out of Steve West. And even though West was able to find a response late on, van Gerwen was pretty much in control from the moment he clawed it back to 3-2. There was always that sense of inevitability about Michael van Gerwen booking his place in the final. And maybe, just maybe, a sense of inevitability about the way he started here. It's certainly looking ominous already for Adrian Lewis. There's a bit of a gap opening up on the Lewis throw. And Lewis, having just come through that gargantuan tussle with Paul Nicholson in the second semi-final, has to fight again.
Adrian Lewis is on a run of 6 consecutive defeats against Michael van Gerwen, the world #1. The last time he beat him was the last time he won a title. 1st of April 2017, a semi-final win against MVG, but since then defeats all the way. And MVG is in the mood, a 1-3-2 to double his lead and break the jackpot throw.
Well, these two have had some massive encounters in the past. You think of the World Championship semi-final in 2014 that Michael van Gerwen just totally dominated from start to finish, winning that one by 6-0. They have only met 3 times, or this, I should say, is only their 3rd meeting on the European Tour. They met in the semi-finals of the German Masters 4 years ago in their most recent meeting in Europe. That was a 6-3 win for van Gerwen. And they did meet in the quarterfinals here in 2013, Lewis coming out on top in that one 6-5. So honours even as far as that bracket is concerned. But I suspect that will count for very little today.
There's always been a mutual respect between this pair. There have been some fallouts along the way too. Not least a match I can remember at the World Cup of Darts in the final, where Michael van Gerwen was annoyed by Adrian Lewis taking a long time celebrating, leaving his darts in the board, much like Dyson Parodi did here in Gibraltar. I think that was the tournament before, and Adrian Lewis might have learned a trick or two of Gibraltar's top player.
$78.
Yeah, I think van Gerwen may have remembered that as well when the Dutch played the Gibraltarians at the World Cup as well. It may well have been in the back of his mind. Not that van Gerwen needs any extra incentive to see off anybody.
The last time Adrian Lewis beat Michael van Gerwen and went on to win the title, van Gerwen beat him 7-0 next time out, later that month in the Premier League. Now he's done a 1-3-2. Can he add a 1-4-5?
125. Adrian, you require 100.
almost. Looks to be enjoying himself here, Michael van Gerwen, already.
This is for a break. Now, Adrian Lewis, is he going to stay there? 'Cause it looks a very good guide. He opted for 2 double tops. Couldn't find the first dart in the double bed, which means that van Gerwen will return, looking for a 3-0 advantage.
Well, I'm very much of the opinion that van Gerwen has been aided here slightly by the fact that Lewis has not had so much time to recover and draw breath following that semi-final. I think it took a little bit out of Adrian Lewis, who was quick to pay tribute to Paul Nicholson backstage after that match in his own unique way.
177.
He'll be breathing a little easier now.
Well, he needs consistent strings of moments like that, you feel, to threaten van Gerwen. Van Gerwen does look very relaxed. He's been relaxed all weekend. He's clearly enjoying the sunshine here in Gibraltar, and he's got that holiday on the horizon as well.
140.
Big incentives all over the place. 5 Euro Tour titles perhaps on the cards for this year. 25 Euro Tour titles for his career, his brilliant career. And of course, another step in the right direction to emulating that tally of 26 ranking titles for a calendar year as well, which is something that is clearly something he's desperate to address.
168.
Adrian Lewis has left himself on double 8 after 9 darts.
Adrian, you require 16.
You don't see better than 10 darters on the European Tour. Adrian Lewis has announced himself into the match, into the final in some style.
Lewis has got plenty of backing in the crowd here as well. He was quick to acknowledge, but that backing has just been deflated a little bit there, hasn't it? Van Gerwen has been doing that time and time again this weekend, just that instant reminder, that instant response, the ability to just put his opponent back in his place, and Lewis responds with 60.
180 for Michael van Gerwen to kick off his 5th leg of the final.
134.
BG's approach to these tournaments is he comes expecting to win. He, as I said, he earmarked the money as his holiday fund. That means he won't be competing Wigan next weekend. Just a reminder, plenty of action coming up on PDC TV. We have the back-to-back Players' Championship events in Wigan before we head to Copenhagen for the inaugural Danish Darts Open. Then we have midweek darts, Players' Championship events in Barnsley, and a European Tour trip to Hamburg.
Well, win or lose this weekend, or win or lose this final for Adrian Lewis, there's no doubt it will do his standing on the Pro Tour Order of Merit the world of good. He's beaten 3 seeded players already, Mensur Suljovic, James Wade, and also Peter Wright this weekend. Change of approach for Adrian Lewis. Looks to be in a better place this weekend. It's great to see him making the impact that he has made so far. In this, his 4th appearance on the Euro Tour this year, and he's also qualified for Copenhagen, so we will see him at the end of next week. We're back in Denmark for the inaugural event there.
Doesn't matter because Michael van Gerwen pinned double top anyway, but the last start was a daft one for Adrian Lewis. We've been looking at the bullseye in 25. I guess he just said there because he assumed Michael van Gerwen would land the double. And he lands a match at the start of leg 6.
Well, Adrian Lewis has only won one European Tour event, and it was some time ago. It was the German Darts Masters in 2012. It's the only final he's ever appeared in as well, so he made the most of that opportunity, winning 6-3 against Ian White that year in September of 2012. So a 100% record in European Tour finals, but I think that may well count for very little here. He's got loads to do. 4-1 down.
125.
Hasn't come out of a clear blue sky, this run for Adrian Lewis. He has been reaching the latter stages of events on the floor all year,
140.
including back-to-back finals, one weekend. Players' Championship 7 and 8 now. Wonderful stuff this. Can he complete the combination? Well, he's having to check. Surely he knew what he needed to go for. And that might have just knocked Adrian Lewis out of his stride, and he could pay a heavy, heavy price here.
to be.
79. Adrian
That one just slipping through the fingers of Michael van Gerwen. Lewis was very, very close to busting his score there, but gets away with it.
Just looks for the first time this weekend.
12.
A little hot and bothered, Adrian Lewis. He's been relaxed, he's been cool. But now he's feeling the heat.
Sixth flag, Michael van Gerwen. Seventh flag, Michael to throw first. Game on.
Well, 3 legs away for Michael van Gerwen. It's a very one-sided affair so far, given the scoreline. Finals he's won on the European Tour this year. He beat Peter Wright 8-7 in the European Open. Wright again 8-5 in the German Darts Grand Prix. Wade 8-3 in Sindelfingen. And Lennon 8-5 in Zwolle.
It did miss one of the European tournaments, so Michael van Gerwen has an incredible record.
135.
He's also got his eyes on breaking that incredible record of titles won in 2016.
140.
Yeah, and just to reiterate his record in Europe, he's won 7 of the last 8 European Tour events he's entered. He was absent for both Graz earlier this year and Riesa towards the end of last year, the International Open there. And he's got plenty of daylight here to work with too.
76.
76. Move further ahead.
He shows in the seventh flag, Michael van Gerwen.
Going about his business very, very effectively now, isn't he, Michael van Gerwen? And the crowd just perhaps a little subdued because they're acknowledging that this is a bit of a procession now for Michael van Gerwen. Let's not write off Adrian Lewis just yet, but he does look just a little bit below par. I do think that semi-final may just, I think also the quarter-final against Wade may, or the third round, may well just have taken something out of him.
Why not? Michael van Gerwen kick off a leg with 170. Has been a breeze for MVG so far this final.
100.
Adrian Lewis, yeah, as you mentioned, look at this, Michael van Gerwen saving 61. His best for last, as we often see him do. But Adrian Lewis has had to come through what Dan Dawson dubbed the quarter of death. From the last 32 stage, he's had to beat a major champion at every turn.
180.
Just a little flash of brilliance there from Lewis.
Well, look at this here. Michael van Gerwen scored 100 there. We could see Michael van Gerwen begin and end the leg with 170.
Just a little something that may be, or may have been in the back of his mind. I think he was desperate to, tick off a 170 checkout in his semi-final.
So let's see if he can do it. That would be something, wouldn't it? 170 to start. And it's on.
He'll really enjoy this. No, it's not on anymore. Yeah, you could see the reaction there. He clearly wanted it.
Well, naughty last start from Michael van Gerwen. Thrown away in disgust. Disgusted that he couldn't reel in the big fish. Quite simply, this has to go. It's not easy. Obstructed.
58.
Well,
Michael, you require 89.
This to take him to within 1. Well, he's not there yet, and Lewis will return.
And Michael van Gerwen there has paid the price for throwing a dart away. A bit of petulance from the world number 1. You wouldn't think it would matter at the end of the match, but needs to take more care in situations like that.
Yeah, a little bit skew with that second dart. It did find its way in. Jackpot just had to quickly check, but George Noble was right on top of the situation anyway. Van Gerwen averaging 106 at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that for you, by the way. And also Lewis averaging over 100, but embellished greatly or significantly by the fact he is 2 from 9 on doubles.
Did have that 10 dart leg in leg 4, as you can see. For MVG, all but one of the 6 legs he's won have been won in 5 visits or fewer.
140. Michael Gerwen, 128.
Well, I wouldn't say he's losing his way, but there have just been a couple of instances here where Michael van Gerwen hasn't been on top of things, but he's got so much time on his side here.
Well, I certainly think he's losing his focus.
Yeah. That is safe to say, yeah.
Can happen if MVG is not given a game.
53.
And he's the first to admit that. He kind of shoulders the responsibility if his opponent is not putting up the biggest of fights and causing it to be a naturally entertaining match. Michael van Gerwen feels he's shouldering the burden of entertaining the crowd by doing special things on the dartboard. We have seen many a time this year, particularly on the European Tour, him doing some silly things on the dartboard. Sometimes they look fantastic, but when they don't come off, can look a little silly. However,
yeah, that
on
was
the brink.
That was a 16 dart leg for Michael van Gerwen, and when he finished off, Lewis was still on 2-3-3.
140.
And Lewis only kicked off with 51, and van Gerwen is in the ascendancy already in this 10th leg. As they say, talent does what it can, genius does what it must, and certainly Michael van Gerwen underlining that once again this weekend, although bang on cue he strays into the single one, but recovers.
81.
Would be a landmark title for the world number one. 25, the quarter century on the European Tour. All the stats are very, very good.
100.
We've spoken about all the players that are returning to form in the build-up to the big TV events, kicking off with a World Match Play in July.
140.
But there's one man, nearly all of the time, none of them seem able to stop. And Michael van Gerwen is closing in once again on the title today. Lewis refusing to go away just yet, but that might not matter. 140 to win it. It's on. Went for tops, and I'm surprised because the dart in the treble 20 was absolutely perfect for Michael van Gerwen to follow.
Well, he has got the cushion, I suppose, to be a little bit flamboyant if he wants, but in the end, in the final reckoning, it's another leg on the board for Lewis, who I suppose has avoided the fate of becoming the man to lose the, or to suffer the heaviest defeat in a final against van Gerwen on the European Tour this year, and it's van Gerwen who brings up the 200th maximum of the weekend as well.
But he didn't just want to win the match, he wanted to win it in style.
93.
Cost him that leg, perhaps, Michael van Gerwen, because I think he probably would have got a dart at double 10, but he could win it. I was going to say an even better style.
100.
You can see his anger there, Michael van Gerwen.
Yeah, I don't think he'll want to take too many more chances in terms of determining how to finish things off. I think he's got to the point now where he's tried everything. He's tried the 170 check-in, check-out. He's tried the 9 dart leg as well.
Just watch him lay up with 51 here. Perhaps not.
Yeah, safety first here from Michael van Gerwen.
137.
And yet the crowd, I think, just sitting back and acknowledging the fact that Michael van Gerwen is by far and away the best player in the world. And he's by far and away the dominant force on the European Tour once again.
Yeah, there's lots of players this weekend that you can doff your cap to, but Michael van Gerwen is the man who will leave Gibraltar wearing the crown. Once again, the governor on the European Tour, and a fabulous performance in the final. Adrian Lewis, superb to get to that stage, but Michael van Gerwen too good once again. An 8-3 success, 108 the average.